The NFC North in 2021 starts with this man here. What will Aaron Rodgers do? Will he be playing for the Packers in 2021? Will he be traded to presumably an AFC team? Or, as we saw as recently as last week, will he retire? Now, we are going to be discussing every team in today's video, not just the Green Bay Packers and not just Aaron Rodgers. And as always, we are going to be going from worst to first in terms of the 2020 standings. So we are going to be starting today's video out with the Detroit Lions. Now, they obviously had a lot going on this offseason as they traded quarterback Matt Stafford to the Rams in exchange for Jared Goff and a couple of draft picks. The Bears selected their future franchise quarterback in Justin Fields, and the Vikings had a pretty busy offseason in their own rights. So before we dive into each and every team, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as each only take a second to do and it would be very much appreciated. Now let's begin. We are starting today's video off with the Detroit Lions, who, as we said, most notably traded longtime franchise quarterback Matthew Stafford this offseason to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for Jared Goff and multiple first-round picks. So, all in all, I do want to say I liked the trade for the Lions to receive 2 first-round picks and a starting caliber quarterback. Now, whether you think Jared Goff is a franchise quarterback or not is something else, but the reality is he is a starting caliber, meaning he is at minimum league average. To get that and 2 first-round picks, I do think is a good trade for this team, given that they were not a previous team going to the NFC Championship game or were a game away from the Super Bowl or were only one specific player away, because let's face it, they were not. So for them to get that type of haul was very good for the long-term outlook. But this video is 2021 specifically, and just being honest, I don't think the Lions are going to be very good this year specifically. Now, I do think Dan Campbell is a good coach. I think he has a good football mind, and I think he has a great football attitude for the Lions and what they need and what that city needs moving forward. The biting kneecaps was obviously fun to make fun of, but in reality, I think that's a great attitude to have, meaning the Lions are going to be playing hard-nosed football, and they're going to be playing a very gritty style. Think of, in terms of the NFL, the Memphis Grizzlies in the mid-2010s, the grit and grind, and they were pretty successful. Although they didn't win a championship, they were a tough out every year, and I do think that's what the Lions will be moving towards in the mid-2020s. So, I do like what the Lions did this offseason in terms of the long-term rebuild. Their first pick in the Dan Campbell era, the biting kneecaps era, was a franchise left tackle, which relates back to the grit and grind per se, and I don't think they're going to be very successful this year. I could see them getting as low as 3 to 4 wins, and I could see them getting as maximum as maybe 7 to 8 wins. I definitely do not think this is a playoff team by any means, but I do think it is a rebuild and retool year for the Detroit Lions. Now, I do absolutely love tight end TJ Hawkinson and think he is definitely the future of the position. So I think they have some good long-term pieces. And by the way, they did select wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round out of USC. And I certainly do think in terms of fantasy sleepers and long-term dynasty players, I think Amon-Ra will be a very good player for that. And I do think he could very quietly have a very good rookie season. Now, not to say he'll be in the offensive rookie of the year discussion the way Justin Jefferson was last year, because there are a lot of other players that will be in contention this year, and just not Amon-Ra St. Brown. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings, and this was a team in 2020 that definitely succeeded on one side of the ball and definitely did not succeed on the other side of the ball. And obviously, it was the offense that succeeded a lot and the defense that was absolutely abysmal for most of the year. And it really culminated on Christmas Day when Alvin Kamara rushed for 6 touchdowns, and in a lot of those touchdown runs, the offensive line simply was just moving the Minnesota Vikings. And not to take away from Alvin Kamara, but it was a lot of the Vikings defense just being not NFL caliber or simply not NFL starting caliber, and when that happens, you saw what happened on the Saints side of the ball. Anyways, moving forward in 2021, the Vikings pretty much said, we're not going to let that happen again, and we do not want to be embarrassed on national TV, at least by a running back again. And what did they do? Michael Pierce will be coming back from sitting out a season due to COVID, and they signed nose tackle Dalvin Tomlinson to a 2-year deal, and of course added veteran corner Patrick Peterson in free agency. So having added all of these pieces, it is pretty obvious what the Vikings are trying to do this year, and that is make a Super Bowl push. And what better time to do that than when the division rival Packers are seemingly seemingly at their end of their mark, with the future of Aaron Rodgers unknown at this point. So for the Vikings, especially if Aaron Rodgers sits out this year, they have to be licking their chops heading into the season, knowing that they even beat the Packers, as bad as their team was last year, the Vikings that is. They even beat the Packers once last year in Lambeau, and if they can do that with the 2020 roster, then the sky is the limit for this 2021 team. Now, one thing that kind of concerns me in a way is left tackle Christian Darrisaw. Yes, he was a first-round pick, but what that does not mean is he will come in and be a first-team All-Pro player right away. So in reality, even though they spent a first-round pick on what could be a future Pro Bowl player, I don't necessarily think Darrisaw will be a Pro Bowler from day one, and it will be hard to replace what Riley Reiff did in 2020. But I do actually really love the Vikings and what they're going to do this year. Dalvin Cook, assuming everything goes well and there's no injuries or anything, there's no reason he can't be a 1,700 total yard back, if not 2,000, and if not even a little more than that. Of course, Justin Jefferson will be coming back off of a 1,400 yard year, and Adam Thielen has 20 touchdowns in his last 22 games in which he was healthy. Now, if you actually go back through all of the games, there are a few at the end of the 2019 season in which he was not fully healthy, and he did not have touchdowns in those games. But when Adam played a full game, he is almost at a touchdown a game clip, and that is impressive to say the least. So the Vikings in 2021 will have a very bright outlook, and anything short of a divisional playoff game appearance is a disappointment in the eyes of their fans. And next is the Chicago Bears, who made the postseason last year and also lost the MVP from the 2020 season, which was, of course, Mitch Trubisky, who went to the Bills this offseason. But the Bears will look a lot different on the field this year than they did last. Corner Kyle Fuller went to the Broncos in free agency, and of course, they may have drafted a quarterback you guys have probably heard of, and that is Justin Fields in the first round. And by the way, I really loved their second round selection of tackle Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. So needless to say, the Bears will look a lot different than they did last year. Also, Nick Foles is gone, and they brought in AD14, aka Andy Dalton, to back up, presumably, Justin Fields. So, will Justin Fields start right away is another question. I think he will. I think he is better than Andy Dalton, but who knows with the Bears? I would imagine Fields is going to start, and with a rookie quarterback, I am certainly not expecting them to go 13-4, although Fields was a big winner at Ohio State. I certainly don't think he'll go from playing in a national championship to a 14-3 record as a rookie with the Chicago Bears. I absolutely love Justin Fields and think he will be the franchise quarterback, but this video is for 2021 specifically, and Ryan Pace certainly made that trade to save his job with Justin Fields. Obviously, the miss on Mitch Trubisky is a big stain, at least it is on his career and his resume as a GM, but trading up for Justin Fields, especially where they got him, was huge for the Bears, and I certainly do think Fields is going to be a franchise quarterback for them. I was a lot higher on Justin Fields coming out of Ohio State than I was Mitch at the time, even though Mitch was selected 2nd overall and Justin was selected 11th overall. Justin was my QB2 in this draft behind only Trevor Lawrence, and even then I didn't think the gap between those guys was really that big. Anyways, moving forward for this year, I do think a trio of Fields, David Montgomery, and Allen Robinson will be very good, and that's not even mentioning the tight end Cole Kmet, who I certainly expect to take a big leap this year, as tight ends generally take a year or two to develop, as very rarely do you see a tight end come in and have 65 catches, 700 yards, and 7 or 8 touchdowns as a rookie. Generally, it just does not happen. Playing tight end at the D1 level versus the NFL level is a major difference, and there's a reason why tight ends generally do not come in and dominate right away, and those that do are very good and multiple-time Pro Bowlers if that happens. So for the Bears 2021 season, I don't think a playoff appearance is really out of the question for them, because they made the playoffs last year. Granted, their record wasn't all that good, and we suspect the NFC West will be a lot better records as a whole this year, but they made the playoffs with quarterback play that was, simply put, not good in 2020, and if they did that and Justin Fields simply isn't that awful in 2021, which I certainly don't expect him to be, will there be rookie moments? Yes, absolutely, but the Bears making the playoffs as a wildcard team certainly is reasonable, and I wouldn't doubt that they do that. So I do think in the 2021 season, I have them in the 8 to 10 win range. So now we are at the Green Bay Packers, and this is, quite honestly, probably the toughest team to do of any of the 32 teams that we've done so far. And honestly, I'm going to hope that Aaron Rodgers is playing this year for this preview, but I don't think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl this year. They have been so close, and I'm not sure if they can get over that hump. They lost, granted it was a backup running back, but they lost Jamal Williams this year, and I'm not sold on the Packers' ability to win big games. We saw what they did last year. They ended up kicking the field goal on 4th down, and obviously that wasn't a decision Aaron Rodgers agreed with, and I don't blame him for not agreeing with that decision when you were quite literally the MVP of the league and your head coach decides to kick a field goal. Now, obviously, we have heard all offseason that there is irreparable damage for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers holds grudges more than anybody probably in the NFL, and we've heard that he does not talk to his family or there's some complication with his family, and quite honestly, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have this attitude where he's going to say, you know what, like, screw it, like, I'm just going to grind as hard as I can, and I'm going to win a Super Bowl in spite of everyone in the organization, because I certainly don't think that's the attitude Rodgers would have. Would he win a Super Bowl for himself? Yes, of course, but I don't think he's going to go all in with that type of attitude, and honestly, I don't think the Packers are going to have a very good 2021 season. We saw the other night on Instagram the cryptic messages with the Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen Instagram stories between Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, and who knows what is going to go on with Green Bay in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we will know more come week 1, but as of now, I don't think the Green Bay Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, their season differs drastically whether Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love is the starting quarterback for them. If it is indeed Jordan Love, then I don't think he's going to, and by the way, I don't think there's a unjustifiable reason to feel this way, I don't think Jordan Love is going to all of a sudden just lead them to the Super Bowl. If Aaron Rodgers couldn't do that last year, throwing 48 touchdowns to 5 interceptions and having an MVP season, then I don't think a player that has thrown an NFL touchdown pass is going to do that in his first season starting. So honestly, it's going to be a very drastic season for the Packers. It could be NFC Championship game appearance, or it could be a 6-11 type year with Jordan Love starting. Either way, I do think the Packers are undoubtedly the hardest team to predict how their season is right now, just because of everything that's going on. But anyways, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, we are less than 110 subscribers away from 25,000, so please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps a ton with the YouTube algorithm, and I really appreciate the time out of your day if you're still watching. So until next time, have a great day. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.